Good day everyone, we are the Group 8 and my name is May Gonzaga Tapel of BIT3ECT and today we'll be tackling all about personal protective equipment or also known as PPE. So first, what is PPE? It says here, PPE or personal protective equipment is a specialized clothing or equipment worn by an employee to minimize exposure to a variety of hazards. So, ang PPE daw ay specialized clothing na sinusuot ng mga employee na nagtatrabaho sa mga specialized works like construction, mining, firefighting, or any works that exposed to hazards. Next slide is, why is it important to wear PPE? PPE helps to minimize the potential for skin exposure to hazardous chemicals, biological agents, and other hazardous materials. So, like what I've said kanina, PPE helps to minimize the exposure to any chemicals, biological agents, or any hazardous materials like sharp objects, falling debris, falling objects, and etc. So next question is, who really needs to wear PPE or who needs to wear PPE? It says here, PPE is worn by a range of industries who work in a workplace exposed from hazardous materials. So, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, ang PPE, hindi basta-basta lang yan sinusuot. So, ang mga nagsasuot yan ay talaga yung mga employee na nagtatrabaho sa mga mining industries, construction industries, firefighting industries, hospitals, or any works that exposed to hazardous materials. So, before we proceed to the main topic of PPE, let's first discuss about the history of personal protective equipment or also known as PPE. Saan nga ba nagmula ang PPE? Ano ang pinagmula nito at ano-ano yung mga types ng PPE na unang natuklasan noong unang panahon? So, in history, the word personal protective equipment refers to any equipment that workers in a variety of industries including construction, mining, firefighting, chemistry, manufacturing, and law enforcement wear to perform their jobs or perform certain tasks safely. So, ang PPE talaga ay specialized clothing that makes the employee safe while working to their certain task. So, the history of PPE first discovered by the Japanese soldiers. Japanese soldiers used to strap iron plates to their bodies to shield themselves during battle in the 4th century. May kita nyo sa picture dyan kung ano ba yung itsura ng soldiers, yung ginagamit ng mga soldiers, Japanese soldiers na iron plates para protektahan yung sarili nila during mga battle war nung panahon nila. So, hindi lang naman Japanese soldiers ang nagsasuot ng PPE to protect themselves during the battle or the war. Blacksmiths were also known to wear protective gear or on regular basis to shield themselves from the molten metals they work with. Therefore, protective wear was another common usage for them. The PPE we use now was both inspired by the result of these activities. So, yung PPE natin ngayon, modern PPE talaga ay inspired by the Japanese soldiers and blacksmith during their time. And so, in 16th century, Leonardo da Vinci is credited with designing the first respirators. So, makikita nyo sa picture, it looks like a mask or mascara, pero this respirator protects them from breathing any hazardous chemical or materials during World War I. So, like what I've said, this respirator were improved upon and utilized to protect soldiers from poisonous gases during World War I. In order to prevent workers from breathing in any hazardous gases, respiratory and breathing devices are still utilized today. Then, during those battles, headwear was influenced by shipbuilding yards during 1800s. In those days, laborers would cure and harden their tar-coated hats by placing them in the sun. So, tinatapat nila sa araw para tumigas yung headgear na sinusuot nila para later on this would shield them from the battle or war that was going on their time. So PPE in ancient and medieval protective wear. Personal protection equipment has been around since antiquity. Although its functionality has evolved over time, protective gear has always been worn in combat. So katulad nung kanina, Japanese soldiers and blacksmith, they wear this iron plate to protect their body from during the battle or war. It's like a PPE in this modern day na yung sinusuot natin mga special clothing to protect ourselves from hazardous materials. So, ganun din sila noong during their time, sinusuot nila yung iron plate to protect themselves, to protect their body from the exposure of hazardous materials during their battle. Blacksmiths in the Middle Ages used materials to shield their skin from hot tools and jug metals while not in use by the military. To prevent workshop injuries, very thick aprons and other sturdy clothes, including gloves, were used. So during the time ng mga blacksmith, they already worn the gloves and the apron that we are somehow using nowadays, the modern PPE. PPE during World War I was first widely documented to be used. Soldiers used respirators to filter hazardous air pollutants. So, yung PPE, nagamit ng nakakarami during World War I as gas and toxic substances often used as tactics by the enemies, making respirators essential during the war. Not just the respirators was used during World War I, vest and helmet was also wear by the soldier during their battle at that time. Now let's proceed to the PPE history. These are the 4 types PPE discovered during 1800s. First is the hard hat. The proprietor of mining equipment company Sun served as the inspiration for hard-boiled hat. It is made of steel. So the company's son returned home from the war and the father saw his son wearing this steel helmet where he saw a chance to create something akin to this helmet and make this as a safety helmet and now called the hard hat today. The modern hard hat, on the other hand, is more lighter and more comfortable because it is composed of synthetic fibers and polymers. Now, next PPE is the eyewear. In 1880, Powell Johnson, an African-American inventor, received a patent for eye protectors. So, he provided his invention for protection assistance to numerous individuals working in dangerous occupations such as construction workers and welders. And in the 20th century, as the need for superior protection grew, creative designs that were both extremely practical and stylish were produced. So, in 20th century daw, mas lalong nakilala tong eyewear na to dahil ginagamit ito lalo na yung mga taong medyo may kalabuan ng mata at yung mga taong dinadagdag ang eyewear sa style and fashion clothing nila. Next PPE is the gloves. Gloves have been around since the 80th century. Homer, the ancient poet, tells the story of Laertes working in the garden and wearing gloves to shield his hands from thorns. So, yung gloves, it is first widely used by the gardeners to protect their hands from the thorns. However, since then, gloves have undergone significant transformation, serving not only as protective item but also a fashion accessory. So, hindi lang to for safety or protection, ginamit na rin tong gloves for fashion accessory. Although gloves haven't altered all that much in terms of design, they now feature Lexi choices, fleece or insulation, and fabrics that are water resistant for better performance in damp conditions. So, ngayong modern day, may iba't ibang uri na ng gloves. Merong gloves na gawa sa fabric, gloves na gawa sa rubber. So, bawat industry, may kanyang-kanya tayong gloves na gagamitin natin for protection and safety. Last PPE discovered during the 1800s is the footwear. Prior to the late 1800s, PPE for shoes was non-existent, but then it was introduced and it was constructed of steel-reinforced stiff leather. But now, in this modern day, safety boots come with numerous extra qualities including water resistance and waterproofing to further protection the wearer. Katulad ng gloves, may iba't ibang uri na rin ng safety boots. May safety boots na for fashion accessories, may safety boots na gawas as water resistant para maprotektahan yung paa natin or yung paa na nagsusuot sa tubig. At yung materials naman na gamit sa safety boots in construction industries ay steel toe caps, soles that are impermeable, and waterproof styles with different degrees of insulations are among the materials used. So those are the 4 types of PPE discovered during the 1800s. Now let's proceed to the personal protective equipment in construction. Personal protective equipment hazards are addressed in specific standards for the construction industry. So, in construction industry, meron tayong standard na sinusunod para sa PPE na sinusuot ng employee provided by the employers. One of these standard is the OSHA standard. There are 29 OSHA-approved state plans operating statewide occupational safety and health program. State plans are required to have standards and enforcement programs that are at least as effective as OSHA's and may have different or more stringent requirements. So, itong 29 OSHA's approved state plans ay para sa occupational safety and health programs ng mga employees na nagtatrabaho in such industries na kailangan talaga nilang protection or exposed sa mga hazardous materials. And that's all for the history of personal protective equipment. Now, let's proceed to the assessment, selection, and providing of personal protective equipment.
Assessment, selection, and providing PPEs. Assessment. Employers are required to conduct an assessment to determine the various physical hazards that may present in their employees' work area. As a part of assessment, employers must also determine the various health hazards that may be present in the area. So, ginagawa yung assessment para ma-inform at ma-orient ang mga employees sa mga pwedeng physical hazard or chemical hazard sa kanilang ina-apply na trabaho. So, ginagawa ito ng mga employers para maging aware at maging maayos ang trabaho sa isang workplace. Kabilang dito yung cold environments, possible source, working outdoor in the cold weather, working in the cold storage, health effects, hypothermia, frostbite, trench foot, and ang prevention is dress properly, use thermal jacket, learn to recognize hypothermia symptoms, seek medical help if you notice someone developing hypothermia, seek warm shelter if you start shivering excessively or feeling confused. Hot environments, possible source, working near furnace, summer outdoor work, health effects, heat stroke, heat syncope, or fainting. Prevention, dress in light loose clothing to allow sweat evaporation, acclimatize yourself at a slow pace before starting full work. Pace your work or play to avoid exertion. Drink plenty of water frequently, even if you are not thirsty. Take rest in the cool place or shade if you feel very hot. As for training to recognize symptoms of heat stroke, seek immediate medical help if you notice that someone might be getting heat stroke. Slips, trips and fall. Possible source: slippery and cluttered floors and working surface. Health effects: bodily injury, broken bones, permanent disability. Preventions: when working at heights, use proper safety equipment, follow the safe work practices, keep the floors free from clutter, debris and spills. Clean up spills immediately. Ultraviolet, possible source: sunlight, arc welding, black light lamps, germicidal lamps. Health effects: skin cancer, eye damage, retinal damage. Prevention: avoid midday sun 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Seek shade when outdoors. Apply sun protection cream on exposed skin. Wear appropriate clothing to prevent UV exposure to the skin. Avoid staring at the sun or bright light sources. Ionizing radiation. Possible source: working near X-ray machines, handling radioactive materials, uranium mining, working in nuclear energy power plants, working in nuclear research laboratories. Health effects: radiation sickness within hours or days after exposure to very high radiation level, cancer after several years of low level exposure. So, porket low exposure tayo sa gantong klase ng radiation is pwede rin tayo magkasakit kung palaging ito yung gagawin natin sa buong. Preventions: spend the least possible time near a radiation source. Stay as far away from a radiation source as possible. Use a shielding device such as lead barrier to stop radiation before it reaches people. Use gloves, apron, etc. to prevent contamination of hands and body. And confined spaces are enclosed or partly enclosed spaces that are not designed for people to work in, but in which people need to work inside occasionally. They can have a poor ventilation and are a risk to health and safety from dangerous oxygen level and contaminants like airborne gases, vapors, and dust. Selection of PPE. Once the work area has been assessed, the employer must select with the employee's help appropriate personal protection equipment for them to use while performing their job. PPE should be selected based primarily on the hazard identified during the assessment. However, employers should also take the fit and comfort of PPE into consideration when selecting appropriate items for each employee. PPE that fits well and comfortable to wear will encourage employees' use of PPE. So sa pagpili ng tamang PPE, ginagawa rin pala ito ng ating mga employers, sinusuot or tinatry din nila na gamitin ang PPE na napili na ipoprovide nila sa kanilang mga employees. Kasi hindi naman siguro basta-basta tayo susuot ng mga PPE kung hindi tayo komportable, kung feeling natin is parang nabibigatan tayo lalo sa trabahong ginagawa natin, especially when we're at the construction site. Tulad ng mga construction worker na hindi nagsusuot ng hard hat kasi nga daw naiinitan daw ang kanilang mga ulo. So possible reason din siguro dun is yung kanilang ventilation at working area. So wala silang magagawa kundi sumunod na lang sa policy ng kumpanya. And para din naman yon sa safety ng isang worker or employee, ginagawa itong selection para maging mas maayos at mas maging productive ang isang worker or employee, at mas mahikayat sila na gamitin ng tama at maayos ang PPE sa working area. Providing PPE, there are few key things to remember regarding PPE in the workplace. First and foremost, employees are responsible to identifying and providing appropriate PPE for employees. Secondly, PPE should only be worn when necessary, and the employees should be properly trained. Finally, PPE should be regularly inspected and maintained to ensure it is in good working condition. If you have any question about PPE in the workplace or are unsure of what type of PPE is appropriate for your job, be sure to ask your employers. They will be able to provide you with the information you need to stay safe at work. So sa pagpo-provide naman ng PPE sa mga employees, hindi natin kailangan na halimbawa nasa ko lang naman is loob lang ng construction site, and then wala naman pwedeng mag-fall ng debris or anything else na mahulog. Okay lang kahit hindi ka mag-sort ng hard hat, pero mas maganda pa rin na safe tayo and sumunod pa rin kung ano man ang inutos ng ating employer when it comes to agreement. Pagiging masunurin natin sa ating mga employer at policies ng kanilang company para sa safety natin is mahalaga, hindi lang para sa kanila, para sa sarili na rin natin at sa sariling kapakanan.
Here are the types of PPE. First one is head protection. Head protection is designed to protect you if there is a risk that you could be struck by falling objects and or strike your head against a fixed object. So, yung head protection po, yun po yung pumoprotekta sa ulo natin against head injuries, especially sa mga construction site na maraming risk, maraming hazards na pwede mag-cause ng head injuries. So, and yung examples po na head protections are hard hats. Kung mapapansin po natin yung hard hats, may iba-iba po siyang colors. And then, yung mga colors po na to is may meaning po yan sa construction. So, yung white hard hats, ibig sabihin po niyan is easy to spot. So, Ginagamit po yan madalas ng mga executive or supervisors sa isang project. Example po is site managers, foremans, engineers, or architects. So pagka nakakita po tayo ng white na hard hat sa isang site, ibig sabihin po sila po yung mga nandun sa position. Yellow hard hats po, most commonly seen hard hats in the site. So, yung mga gumagamit naman po ng yellow hard hats, yung mga general construction workers, earth movers, or yung any common works sa isang site. Blue hard hats naman po, ginagamit to usually ng mga technical workers. So, ang pwede magsuot nito sa isang site are carpenters, electricians. So, sila yung madalas na nakikita natin nagsusuot ng blue hard hats. Brown hard hats naman, ginagamit po siya mostly sa mga welders, mga workers na exposed to high heat. So, sila po madalas yung makikita natin na nagsusuot ng mga brown hard hats. Green hard hats naman po, mga gumagamit naman po nito yung mga site inspectors, mga safety inspectors, mga probationary workers, mga ibig sabihin po, mga new workers pa lang, mga new hires. Sila po yung makikita natin sa site na nagsusuot ng green hard hats. And then orange hard hats, sila po yung sinusuot ng mga workers na nagre-require ng high visibility kasi po yung orange po is neon colors. Mabilis po siya makita sa construction site. Mga nagsusuot po nito are road construction crews, lifting operators, mga nag-ooperate ng mga heavy equipments like cranes, heavy machines like cranes, and other. Red hard hats naman po sa ginagamit ng mga fire marshals, firefighters. Gray hard hats commonly reserved for site visitors. So, gray hard hats alert workers to help wearers avoid hazards and dangerous areas. Black hard hats naman po, hindi natin siya madalas makikita sa construction site kasi po, ang meaning po ng black hard hats, ang mga nagsusuot lang po nito yung mga nasa management positions, kaya ng boss, yung ganun po. Kaya hindi po natin siya madalas makikita sa construction site. Pink hard hats, medyo hindi na po siya ginagamit sa construction site, kaya nahirapan po akong maghanap ng meaning. So yun po yung examples and meaning ng hard hats. Ang iba po pong example ng head protections are bump caps. So yung kung hard hats po, siya po yung protekta sa atin sa moving or falling debris. Moving po sa mga pwedeng mahulog, malaglag, mabato sa ulo natin. Yung bump caps naman po, siya po yung pumoprotekta sa atin sa pagkauntog. So, mostly sa stationary objects lang siya protect. Then safety helmets, same lang ng hard hats. And then welding helmets, ginagamit naman ng mga welders. Next ay eye protection. Eye protection is achieved by wearing eyewear specifically designed to reduce the risk of exposure to chemical splashes, laser radiation, and or flying debris. So, eye protection ginagamit po natin madalas pagka sa mga welders, need po nila ng eye protection kasi delikado po yung welding. And yung mga ano po, mga nagtitibag kasi nagsisisil, ganun sa construction site kasi pwedeng tumalsik yung mga bato sa mga mata nila, mga, mga dust. Kailangan nila to, kailangan nila ng eye protection. So, example po ng eye protections are safety glasses. Ito po, safety glasses. Goggles, same lang neto, goggles. Face shields, yan. Madalas natin gamit nung pandemic kasi required. And then welding shields. Ang pinagkaiba po ng welding helmets and welding shields, siguro yung welding shield po yung glass na tinted na pumoprotekta sa nakalagay sa mga welding helmets. Next is hearing protection. Hearing protectors reduce the noise exposure level and the risk of hearing loss when worn correctly. So yung hearing protection naman po, siya po yung nag-iiwas sa atin sa risk ng pagkabingi lalo na kung maingay yung workplace natin. Kinakailangan po natin ng hearing protection. Kasi ang kaya pong i-tolerate ng tenga natin na noise, pagka above 70 decibels po, decibels unit of sound, dB, 70 decibels, and nababad tayo sa ganung sound, maaari po siyang maging risky sa ating tenga. Pwede po siyang mag-cause ng hearing loss kapag nababad tayo dun sa ganung noise level ng matagal na panahon. And then kung na nababad naman po tayo sa 120 plus decibels na sound, maaari po tayong makaranas ng immediate harm sa ating mga ears. Kaya importante po yung hearing protections lalo na sa maingay na workplace. So, examples po ng hearing protections is earplugs, ear muffs, and then canal caps. Next is respiratory protection. Respirators protect workers against insufficient oxygen, environments, harmful dust, fogs, smokes, mist, gases, vapors, and sprays. So, respiratory naman po, pinoprotektan yung ilong natin sa mga chemicals, yung mga bagay na harmful kapag nasingot natin. Mostly po ang gumagamit ng respiratory protectors are mga pintor, lalo na pag gumagamit sila ng spray guns kasi nagiging mist yung pintura and delikado pag nalakap. And then, yan, mga pintura natin is mababaho talaga sila. So, delikado siya. And then, sa construction site din po is medyo maalikabok. So, yung alikabok po is delikado rin sa atin. Pwede tayong magkaroon ng sakit. Maging harmful sa atin yung mga dust sa work site. Examples po ng respiratory protections are dust mask, half-face respirator. Ito po ata yung half-face respirator. Ito ko full-face respirator. Next is hand protection. Hand and arm protection. Hand and arm hand and arm protection is saving one's hands from any sort of injury at work. Hands are vital tools of human being and therefore the most vulnerable to injuries as well. Hands are exposed to hazardous conditions such as sharp edges, pinch points, rotary machine, hot objects, electricity, splinters, and chemical. So yung hand and arm protections po is isa sa mga pinakaimportanteng PPE na kailangan nating sa isang construction site kasi mostly gamit natin yung arms natin sa construction. Wala tayong trabaho sa construction na hindi gagamitan ng kamay. And then sa everyday life, kailangan na talaga natin gamitin yung kamay natin. So, and mostly exposed siya sa mga hazards, risk, kasi madalas tayong mahawak ng mga matulis na bagay, mga tools, mga heavy equipment, and mga power tools na matutulis talaga. So, delikado siya. And then, sabi nga dito, hands are vital tools of human being and therefore most vulnerable to injuries. Diba? So, importante talaga yung hands natin. Madalas natin talaga naman. And then, example po ng protections are gloves. Lahat ng gloves po is example leather, latex, or not nitride. Then gauntlets, even mittens. Mittens yung sa kusina, diba? Ginagamit natin pag bakings, para pag may mainit na hindi tayo mapasok. Next is foot and leg protection. Foot protection is any piece of personal protective equipment protecting one's foot from any injury while at work or during movement. The foot is a vital part of our body, and since we are on our feet constantly from day to day, they are most susceptible to injury. So another vital part na kailangan natin protektahan are foot and leg. So sa construction site, gamit din talaga natin yung foot, lalo na pag nagbubuhat, naglalakad, ganun. Foot and leg protection is any piece of personal protecting one's foot. So, nagpo-protect siya sa atin. Pinoprotektahan niya ito yung foot natin against injuries. What are the examples of foot and leg injuries? I mean, foot and leg protections. Mga steel-toed boots, mga safety shoes, ganun. Safety shoes, and metatarsal cords. Yung metatarsal cords, nakalimutan ko yung itsura. Pero wala kasi ang picture. Ang hirap hanapin. Next is body protection. Employees who face possible bodily injury of any kind that cannot be eliminated through engineering, work practices, or administrative controls must wear appropriate body protection while performing their job. In addition to cuts and radiation, the following examples of workplace are bodily injuries. Nakalimutan ko ilagay, pero sample na pwede mag-cause ng bodily injuries are syempre cuts, mga matulis na bagay, and then heat kasi pwede tayong sunburn, pwede tayong, and then radiation sa workplace, lalo na pag nag-welding, need talaga ng body protection kasi exposed sila sa heat. And chemicals din, pwedeng maka-irritate ng balat natin. So, halimbawa, mga pintor, di ba? Pwede silang, may mga type ng pintura na allergic, pwedeng harmful yung effect sa kanila. May mga chemical na harmful yung effect sa kanila. Pwede mag-irritate ng skins, ganun. Pwede mag-cause ng allergic reaction sa katawan nila. So, importante talaga na may body protections. Examples of body protectors are coveralls, aprons, chemical resistant suits, even long sleeve na t-shirt. Part din siya ng example ng body protection. Next are personal fall protection systems o yung mga personal fall protection systems. If employees face fall hazards and engineering controls are not feasible, employers can use personal fall protection system (PFPS) to prevent or arrest falls. PFPS includes systems like fall arrest, positioning, and travel restraint. Yung fall arrest po na tinutukoy dito, hindi po siya yung aresto ng mga polis. Yung fall arrest po is yung parang pipigilan niya tayo sa pagkahulog, parang hahatakin, gagawin. Fall arrest. So, dito naman po sa construction site, di ba, madalas tayo makita ng mga high-rise sa mga construction worker. And then, syempre, pipinturahan nila yung labas. Ganun. So, importante to para yung importante PFPS para maprotektan sila against falls and hindi sila mahulog sa mataas na palapag. What are the examples of PFPS? Meron tayong safety nets, to harness, gamit ng harness. Then itong scaffolding part of PFPS yan. Kasi that's also pwede siyang makaprotekta against falls. Tanto sa mga pintors, and then yung mga naglinis ng pintana sa mga high-rise building, ganun. Ginagamit talaga siya. Meron pang iba na ibang PPE na hindi recognized na hindi nakalista sa OSHA. So, gaya ng high visibility clothing, yung mga reflective vest na merong ilaw nagre-reflect lalo na pag madilim, yan, para mabilis sila makita sa madilim na lugar. Usually gumagamit ng mga road inspectors, mga traffic enforcers kasi pag gabi may duty sila. Ganun. And then another is skin protection. So, actually cover na to ng body protection, pero sa ibang site kasi nakabukod siya. So, skin protection, it includes sunscreen and barrier creams.
Good day guys, this is the part of my reporting. First, personal protective equipment training. Employees need to be trained how to use PPEs. Employee training is a program that helps employees learn specific knowledge or skill to improve performance on their current roles. Employee development is more expansive and focuses on employee growth and future performances rather than immediate job role. So, sinasabi dito na employee training ay ginagamit para mas madagdagan yung knowledge ng mga workers or employee para mas may alam sila kung ano yung tatrabahuin nila lalo sa mga susuotin nilang PPEs. Employees must receive training to being assigned tasks that require PPE. Prior performing tasks that require PPE, employee must demonstrate an understanding of the training and ability to use PPE properly. The training should include the following: the hazard that has been identified during the hazard assessment. So, ayun, as you can see, hindi naman may iwasan yung sa may workplace na may hazard. Kahit saan naman tayo magpunta, meron tayong may encounter na hazard. So, doon papasok yung PPE. Doon natin magagamit yung PPE para maprotektahan yung sarili natin sa hazard. When PPE is being worn and specific PPE to be worn, including specific applicable elements, for example, type, material, size, style, length, color, and ratings. So, sa PPE kasi, may iba't ibang size yan. So, kung mas delikado rin kapag hindi kasya sa'yo or maluwang sa'yo. Tapos, yung color, depende yan sa trabaho, depende yan sa position. Pero usually, kulay puti or kulay yellow yung PPE natin. How PPE is properly fitted. Don't, do, adjust, and worn. The limitation of the PPE. The proper care, maintenance, inspection, useful life, and disposal of the PPE. Ayun. Speaking of the disposal of the PPE, hindi lang, may mga PPE kasi na pang one-time use lang. So, for example, yung face mask. Diba? Face mask. Hindi naman lagi natin gagamitin yun. Siguro, kapag nalikabukan na, bakit naman nagamitin mo ulit? Diba? Okay, next tayo. Record information and retention. Training records for each employee must include the following: name of the trainer, name of the employee receiving training, date of training, specific types of PPE covered during the training. Ayun, kapag tinitrain naman yung mga employees, ito yung mga kailangan sa records. Pangalan na nag-train, pangalan ng iti-train, date ng training, tsaka yung mga PPE na ituturo sa mga employees. When there is a reason to believe that employee using PPE does not have the understanding or skill that required to use PPE safely or properly, the employee must be retrained before being allowed to perform work during work times. So ayun, kapag yung mga employee, lalo na kapag kunyari, bago yung position or bago yung trabaho ng kanilang papasukan, mas maganda pag magkaroon sila ng retraining or yung nakalimutan na yung mga PPEs, yung walang masyadong knowledge. Ayun, pwede magkaroon ng retraining para para maturuan ulit sila kung ano yung pwedeng gamitin nilang PPE sa pagtatrabaho. Why is it important to train the workers to use the proper of PPE? Without proper PPE, workers are left exposed to significant risk or injury or illness. These injuries or illness may not be presented themselves immediately either. PPE protects you and your employees from being long-term effect of the nature of your work. So sabi ko nga kanina, yung PPE, pinoprotektahan tayo sa mga hazard. So, prevent tayo magkaroon ng injury sa mga workplace. Ayun. Kaya dapat may proper protection tayo ng PPE, lalo kapag nagkatrabaho tayo. Next is PPE maintenance. Ito naman yung paano mo i-maintain or paano mo maalagaan yung PPE mo. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, may one-time use na PPE, meron din namang hindi. Diba? So, paano mo nga siya linisan? Paano mo siya aalagaan? Una, cleaning PPE is easy and affordable. Protective face shield and goggles can be cleaned using mild dish detergent and warm water and isopropyl alcohol 91% and 2 cotton rags. Ayun, yung face shield tsaka yung goggles, madali lang siyang linisan. Sabi nasa ko nga, kailangan mo lang ng mild dish soap or panghugas sabon. Tsaka medyo warm water daw, tsaka yung alcohol. Yung alcohol, di naman kailangan 91%, basta yung alcohol na panglinis. And ayun, pupunasan lang natin siya para malinisan. Okay? Next, gently wash your protective shield in the soap and water to remove dust and other particles. Pat it dry with the second rag. Be careful not to use scrub. As scrubbing the scuff or scratch the equipment, next, apply the isopropyl alcohol to sanitize the shield. So, sabi ko kanina, yung paglilinis natin, dapat, sabi ko doon, cotton rags. Soft lang, hindi yung magaspang kasi ma-scratch natin yung face shield ay magkakaroon siya ng epekto sa vision natin. Okay? Tapos, sunod, it only takes few minutes, but this simply cleaning method will maximize the life of your protective shield and keeping them in top condition. By using our recommended maintenance and cleaning techniques, you will maximize your service like your PP. Ayun. Madali lang naman siya na it takes few minutes lang sa paglilinis. Kaya kapag meron tayong mga ganong gamit, ay huwag na tayong maging tamad na linisin. Dapat alagaan natin yun kasi yun yung nakakaprotekta sa ating pagtatrabaho. In additional to proper cleaning, carefully storage your PPE is also important. Keep it in a clean space away from other equipment that could crush or scratch it. Be sure to keep your PPE out of direct sunlight and store in a place with the typical indoor temperature. Examine your shield and the other protective gear before you use it. Damaged equipment should be replaced immediately. Ayun. Yung pag-i-store din dapat sa maayos, malinis na lugar. Hindi yung basta mo na lang tinapon dun sa gilid, baka ma-damage yun, madaganan ng kahit na sino or kung ano man, masisira yung equipment natin. Tapos, kung may sira man yung equipment natin, ang sabi dito, palitan ka agad. Huwag natin gagamitin yung PPE natin ng sira. Okay? Kasi makaka-apekto yun sa atin. Lastly, keep the equipment clean and dry before storing them. Use soap and water to clean the equipment after you use them. Dry them before storing them. Replace the equipment immediately if you notice potential damage. Yun nga, sabi ko, dapat maayos at secured yung pagtataguan natin ng ating mga PPEs. Hindi yung basta-basta nilagay lang natin doon ay okay na. Tapos, ayun, sabi ko nga, kapag may damage, palitan natin agad. Huwag nating gagamitin ng paulit-ulit yung na-damage na equipment na yan. Next, record keeping. Sa record keeping, there are 5 types ng pagre-record ng sa ating training. Okay? Una, digitalization. Maintaining training record in physical paper, copies takes up a large amount of space and requires the time to file properly. Manually searching through filing cabinets for a certificate or record is costly in terms of time, especially if a document has been misfiled or misplaced. Going digital with your training records eliminates this problem. Ayun, as you can see, yung mano-mano or yung pagpo-file ng mano-mano sa pag-record ng mga training natin or sa ating trabaho, ayun, sabi dito, kapag kunyari na misfile o na misplace, mahirap yun mahanap. Mahirap yun maulit-ulit kung ano man nalagay natin doon. So, kaya sinabing digitalization, from the word itself na digital, mas maganda kapag digital yung gagamitin natin kasi isang search mo lang sa may device mo, makikita mo na yung record ng isang employee or isang workers. Next, automation. While spreadsheet has been used traditionally for tracking training, ensuring all the requirements are current and satisfied can be difficult this way. Each role within this organization has its specific training requirements, and failing to keep on the top of this can be disastrous. If it results in the avoidable accident, automation removes this risk. Employ the use of training training matrix allows you to put your unique company roles and then auto assign their required documents, orientations, or training. Ayan, sa automation naman, ginagamit ito para ma-remove yung mga risk sa pagtitraining natin. So, para ma-maintain yung properly ng pagtitraining natin. Okay? Next, reporting. Being able to access visual report is an essential element of a great training system. Whether you need a broad overview or specific detail relating to a department or job site, it is important to obtain this information quickly and easily. A gap analysis report allows you to identify outstanding training requirements or where you might be overspeeding or non-essential training for your employees. Kaya sa reporting naman, mas maganda to kapag nag-training tayo kasi yung sa pagre-report kung ano yung na-accomplish natin, kung ano yung nagawa natin. Sabi rin dito, important to obtain this information quickly and easily. Ayun. A gap analysis report allows you to identify outstanding training requirements or you might overspending or non-essential training for your employees. Kung ano yung ginagawa nilang di naman saklaw dun sa training, ayun, para ma-update tayo kunyari sa employees natin kung tama ba yung ginagawa nila. Mas maganda kung may reporting tayo. Okay? Next, designated employee. Having a designated person to oversee company training and record management is crucial. Who you pick this role will probably be determined by the size and structure of your company. If you're a smaller firm, overseeing training may be just one aspect of your employee's role. In a large multinational, there may well be a whole team or department dedicated entirely to training and records associated with it. So, designated employee, sabi dito, hindi naman ganun kalaki yung company mo, mag-assign ka ng tao na mag-oversee or manunood, tawag dito, parang siya yung gagabay sa mga employee, siya yung titingin, di ba? Siya yung supervisor na titingin para i-update ka. Pero kapag malaki naman yung company mo, may specific na team para doon, para ma-maintain or makita nila yung mga nangyayari sa training. Tapos, ayun, doon napapasok ulit yung reporting kung kailan nila i-report sa'yo yung mga nangyayari sa training. Okay? And lastly, training record management system. A training record management system incorporates all of the important features into one system. A TRMS easily allows employee as well as management to upload their records, receive notification for expires. It is important to have a joint responsibilities to ensure employees are engaged in their training and are being safe when on the job site. Ayun. Ito naman, training record management system. Ito yung mga nagme-maintain kung nakikita ba nilang nag-training ba talaga yung employee mo. Sila yung parang nagkikip ng records nila. Tsaka lahat ng records ng employee, hindi lang sa mga nagtitraining. Ayun. Tsaka ito rin yung to have a responsibility to ensure employees are engaged in their training. Kung committed ba talaga yung mga employee mo, sila yung nag-i-ensure kung ginagawa ba talaga ng employee mo yung training, dinadaluhan ba talaga nila, di ba? Ayun yung trabaho naman nito. Okay? Maintaining records in the workplace is essential for effective operation of any companies. Whether you are a small business or multinational, you need to keep on the top of the training unit to ensure that all legal requirements are met. Digitizing your record eliminates the need for physical space and save administrative time and filling up locating documents. Automating this process ensures expires date are not missed and relevant employee can be assigned. Reporting functional allows you to identify any gaps or overspending which designated employee can adjust. A training record management system combines all. Ayun. lahat ng digitalization, automation, reporting, designated employee, papasok lahat yun sa record management system. Ngayon, as sa mga binasa ko, ay sana may naintindihan tayo. Ngayon, yun lang po yung part ko and maraming salamat.
Good day everyone. My name is Lance Miguel J. Velasco from BIT3ECT, one of the presenters or the reporter of Group 8, and I'm here to tackle about the 5 responsibilities of an employee when it relates to personal protective equipment. Ito yung una sa 5 responsibilidad na meron dapat ang isang employee. Ito yung attend training sessions. Based sa unang statement ng nakalagay sa screen, all personnel must receive PPE trainings. PPE aids in the prevention of infection transmission in addition to shielding the user from any hazard. Dito, all personnel, ibig sabihin all personnel, even the employees and other, yung basta yung mga iba pang nasa construction sites, mga ganun, basta sa mga company, kailangan ninyo mag-training on how to use the PPE para din malaman natin kung ano nga ba yung purpose nung PPE sa ating katawan, or kung paano niya ba tayo mapoprotektahan sa mga possible hazard na meron sa isang site or sa mga site yon. For employees to receive an adequate training on how to utilize the personal protective equipment or the PPE. Employers should provide frequent training sessions. These classes also address how to correctly put on and take off PPE, how to take care of it, and what to do if something goes wrong with it. Kumbaga, yung pag-attend ng mga training sessions about the PPE is makakatulong sa inyo how to use it, how to take care of it, or kung paano pangalagaan yung PPE, at para alam ninyo, para malaman niyo din kung ano yung mga possibilities na mangyayari, or kung ano yung mga kumbaga sa may mga masisirang bagay about the PPE, alam nyo kung paano siya gagamitin o kung paano siya aayusin. Tapos dito, dapat yung employees at saka yung employers is madalas dapat silang nagte-training about sa PPE. And also, yung mga employees dapat mag-provide ng regular na training sessions about sa PPE, about sa possible hazards na pwedeng mangyari. Ganun. Employers can help to ensure that their staff members are better to equip to protect themselves and others for potential risk by regularly offering the PPE training. So yun nga about sa din to. But dito kailangan willing din ang mga employers na natulungan din yung mga employees nila para lang ma-ensure nila na ligtas yung mga employees nila pagdating sa trabaho, para maiwasan din nila yung mga potential risk na mga potential risks or hazards. Kaya sa lahat ng construction sites, yung mga ganun, madalas nag-o-offer ang mga employers sa mga employees nila ng mga PPE trainings para lang din ma-secure nila yung mga employees nila na maging ligtas sila at para wala din mangyari sa kanilang masama. Ito naman yung pangalawa sa 5 steps or yung responsibility ng isang employee, which is yung assess the potential hazard. Ito yung nasa screen. Before you start any job, assess the real potential hazard associated with that job. Dito, kailangan mo maging observant. Kumbaga, dito, kailangan mong i-observe yung mga potential hazards na meron sa isang workplace kapag magsisimula ka ng job or if mag-start ka na ng job or first day mo, you have to make sure that you are secured with that work field. Kumbaga, yun nga yung sinabi ko, kailangan mo maging observant and also kailangan mo rin malaman kung ano yung mga potential hazard na meron sa isang field na yun. Kunwari for example, sa site, sa construction sites, sa medical field, sa mga ganyan. Kailangan mo maging observant kung ano yung mga potential hazards na meron doon. Kung ano yung mga yung mga potential hazard na meron doon. Kung ano yung ito yung mga steps na pwede mong gawin. For me, ito lang yung steps na pwede mong gawin kapag gusto mong malaman kung ano yung mga potential hazard na meron doon sa field or sa field o sa workplace na ginagalawan ninyo. Ito, to know or to identify the potential hazard in workplace. The first one is collect an existing information about the workplace hazard. Dito, ito yung unang step na gagawin mo, yung pag-collect ng information, several information about that hazard. Pwede kang humingi ng tulong sa mga co-workers mo, kung ano yung mga hazard na meron doon, kung ano yung mga pwede mong gawin para mawala yung hazard na yon. Dito, inspect the workplace for safety hazard. Dito, i-inspect, ang much important na pwede mong i-observe dito is yung mga equipments, yung mga materyales na gagamitin nyo, yung mga machinery. Dito, kailangan ninyong malaman yung kung pwede pa ba siyang gamitin, kung pwede pa siyang i-resolve ba, kung pwede na ba siyang itapon, kung usable pa ba siya. Ganun. Para maiwasan din natin yung mga hazard or pwedeng mangyaring accidents doon sa workplace na yon. Identify the health hazard. Dito, kailangan mong i-identify yung hazard na makaka-affect sa kalusugan mo. Actually, pati yung much better yung sa internal part ng body mo. Kung ano yung mga hazard na pwedeng maapektuhan ka. Katulad ng may mga toxic ingredient like paints, sa denatured alcohol, yung mga sa pintura, yung pangtanggal sa pintura, yun. Pwede mo yun pwede mo siyang i-consider as the health hazard. Conduct an incident investigation, and the last, identify the hazard associated with emergency and non-routine situation. Dito sa last part, if may mangyari mang incidents, you have to make sure that you are investigated kung saan nagmula yung insidente, kung paano nangyari insidente. Yun, doon mo siya pwedeng gawin. Kung ano yung, para malaman din ng ibang coworkers mo kung ano yung mga yung nangyari sa isang coworkers mo para mas maiwasan na nila. Tas yung sa last, identify hazard associated with emergency and routine situation. Kumbaga dito, ito na yung hazard na sobrang emergency. Kumbaga, kailangan, pag may incident na nangyari, hindi na siya pwedeng gamitan ng first aid kit. Ganon. Possible na ito is pwede ka nang dalhin sa malapit na hospital, near hospitals na malapit, basta malapit sa site na pinagtatrabahuhan mo. Ito yung pangatlo sa 5 responsibility ng isang employee. Ito yung follow warnings and precautions. Dito nakalagay or nakasaad is take time to read any and all warnings and precautions that may appear on tools, equipments, chemicals, and PPE. But here, pwede na mag-focus muna tayo sa tools and equipments. Dito kailangan natin malaman kung paano gamitin ng isang tools or yung mga equipments. Just like us or me and my co-reporters in civil technology, actually in carpentry sa carpentry kasi namin is tinuruan kami kung paano gumamit ng mga tools sa laboratory. Mga tools, equipments, tsaka yung mga machinery tools namin na nandoon. Tinuro sa amin kung paano yung proper use noon, kung saan siya ginagamit. Also yung position ng body namin, kung saan siya, kung ano yung pinaka safe place na pwede namin pagtayuan para lang magawa namin ng maayos yung paggamit ng tools na yun. Tapos sa chemical, ito na yung mga toxic chemicals na dapat talaga dito is meron kayong masks to protect your nose para hindi nyo malanghap yung toxics ng chemical na nandun. Kasi madalas kasing may toxic chemical ang mga pintura, yung mga pantanggal ng pintura, yung mga denatured alcohol, basta yung may mga chemical ingredients doon. Yun yung masasabi kong warning na dapat nyong gawin. Basta sa chemical, kailangan nyo lang talagang gumamit ng mga protective gear, lalo na sa mga kasi may mga may mga precautions din yan sa mga warnings din. Meron din yan. Sa PPE naman, may mga rules and regulations din yan na regulations na dapat kung how to utilize that PPE, how to take care of it. Nyo lang, i-rewind nyo lang yung video, makikita nyo yung na-discuss ko na to kanina dun sa first step or sa first responsibility na meron dapat yung employee doon. The fourth of 5 responsibilities of an employee, which is listen and follow directions. Based dun sa screen, ito yung listen and follow the direction that you may given by your superior or the safety manager. They want you to return home today and every day, safe and sound to your family and friends. Dito, ini-ensure ng mga safety managers ninyo na makauwi kayo ng ligtas sa families nyo, and also para makita din kayo ng mga friends ninyo. Kaya siguro importante din tong pang-apat na to, para lang talagang ma-ensure nila yung health nyo. Kaya much better kung makinig kayo at walang masamang sumunod sa mga superiors ninyo or sa safety managers ninyo. Kasi madalas yan mas madalas na importante to sa mga construction site kasi nasa delikadong lugar sila. Anytime kasi pwedeng may mangyaring masama sa kanila if hindi sila ma-warningan or masabihan ng safety managers nila. Kaya may mga employer, yung mga construction worker is may mga harness if yung trabaho na gagawin nila is yung nasa outside nung pinaka main building yon. Tapos sa 5 and the last responsibility, report any and all unsafe conditions that you may found in your work area to your superior and safety manager. Dito, para ka lang din mag-o-observe. Ano yung sa tingin mo na unsafe na condition sa'yo? Kasi usual yung unsafe conditions, ito yung sa yung sa mga workers. Yan, kunwari sa isang may nakita kang coworker mo na hindi maganda yung kalagayan, pwede mo siyang i-report sa safety manager mo kasi baka mamaya may problema sa internal part ng body niya, ganun. Dito naman, ito yung mga commonly na unsafe conditions na meron sa isang workplace or yung pwede mong makita sa workplace. Yung chemical hazard. Yan, napaka-common nun. Sobrang common ng chemical hazard kasi it really causes on your internal part of your body. Lalo na yung mga toxics na katulad nga yun, yung mga paints, yung mga pantanggal sa paints, kasi yan yung may mga toxic or chemical ingredients na kapag sobrang maamoy, pwede siyang maka-apekto sa katawan mo. Ergonomic hazards. Ito yung maling or yung improper lifting on objects. Improper lifting objects, kumbaga dito yung mga may mga maling, yun nga sa pagkakaalam ko, ito yung may mga maling positions, maling position ng paglift ng isang bagay or ng heavy objects. Kasi madalas yan sa construction sites na may mga nagbubuhat pero minsan namamali yung pagbuhat nila dun sa object na yun, kaya minsan sumasakit bigla yung katawan nila, ganun. Sa mga ito naman, unsafe equipment. Ito yung ano, ito naman yung sa tools and equipments. Kasi may mga faulty ano na eh, mga defect, mga may defect yung ano gamit or may sira yung mga tools. Tas ito dito i-check mo kung ano, kung safe pa ba siyang gamitin kahit sabihin mong may sira na, para lang din kahit papaano magawan ng paraan yung ano, kasi minsan sa construction site maraming may mga sira ang gamit, katulad ng mga martilyo. Minsan lumuluwag yung parang pinaka bakal niya, natatanggal yung handle. Yun. Dito naman sa unsanitary work condition, siguro ito yung ano, sa katawan din siguro, sa physical mo, kasi ito yung mga bagay na ano eh, basta ang alam ko sa physical area siya ng body mo, yung may mga kumapit na parang maamoy chemical, ganun. Yun yung mga ano, sa block safety exits. Usually dapat hindi binablock or sinasara yung mga safety exits na yun, kasi para lang din makaalis ka sa place na yun if something happens dun sa site or sa site mo, basta sa based in our own work field, ganun. Sa mga work field kailangan hindi naka-block yung mga safety exits na yan. Kumbaga open siya, hindi siya nakasara, ganun.